Labour has been accused of running scared from Reform UK at the ballot box, after it emerged that local elections in a number of the surging party's target areas are at risk of cancellation. This morning, Local Government Minister Jim McMahon said some local elections next year may not go ahead as local authorities could be closed or merged, prompting fury from Reform, which has seen success across a range of council votes, even from a standing start. In today's video, we will go over the latest on this, whilst also seeing what Nigel Farage has said with regard to it. But first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and join our fast-growing community. Just a quick one to say we do have t-shirts available on our website. We have stuck Farmer and Make Britain Great Again ones. Make sure you check the link in the description or go to britishstand.com. As stated in the intro, this morning, Local Government Minister Jim McMahon said some local elections next year may not go ahead as local authorities could be closed or merged, prompting fury from Reform, which has seen success across a range of council votes, even from a standing start. Then LBC revealed that Kent, Essex, Lancashire, Hertfordshire and Sussex were areas in which Labour is considering calling off local elections as part of Angela Rayner's devolution drive. But with Reform targeting seats all over the country ahead of the May elections, the party and its leading figures have issued a series of dire warnings over Labour's threat to democracy. A spokesman for the party said, "It's quite clear these elections are potentially being cancelled because of the rise of Reform. They're running scared of the ballot box. Labour know the only way they can avoid losing the elections is if they cancel them." While party chairman Zia Youssef wrote on social media, first, Labour's former Deputy PM Baroness Harman claims Reform is a threat to democracy for having the gall to offer British voters a real alternative. She specifically talked about how poorly Labour were doing in council by-elections. Today, a Labour minister talks about literally dispensing with local elections. This authoritarian Labour government are a threat to democracy. McMahon had also said that, at the moment the elections are going ahead, but said it is usual when there is a request for a reorganisation that elections don't take place to a council that does not exist. He added that there would be a statutory consultation before any authorities are changed, but said some had already requested reorganisation. Youssef laid into Labour again in another scathing attack on the devolution shake-up. "Labour are trying to stop the English County Council elections," he said, the day after Harriet Harman talked about how poorly they were doing in by-elections. "Starmer is governing like a despot." Later, Nigel Farage said, "Cancelling elections in some areas of the country where Reform is gaining momentum is the act of a desperate government. They have the audacity to call us a threat to democracy, whilst they act like third-world dictators." Despite her threat to democracy warning, Baroness Harman had praised Reform's by-election surges just days ago, pointing to several cases in which the party had taken in 40% support from a standing start, while Labour's vote share slumped. The ex-interim Labour leader also issued a broader prediction about Nigel Farage's party's future success. "I feel quite conflicted about this because I don't want to talk up Reform," she told Sky News. "But I actually think that Reform are going to replace the Conservatives at the next election because they seem to have an argument, and they seem to know what that argument is. What are your thoughts on this? Let me know in the comments." In other news, an EasyJet flight from Morocco to Glasgow was forced to make an emergency landing in Portugal after a passenger's disruptive behaviour caused safety concerns. Flight EZY3176 from Agadir to Glasgow diverted to Faro on Tuesday, December 10th. The flight departed Agadir around 8:27 p.m. before the unscheduled landing. Following the incident, the aircraft took off from Faro at 9:55 p.m. Despite the emergency diversion, the flight arrived at Glasgow Airport at 12:54 a.m. Portuguese police removed the disruptive passenger from the flight. The passenger was also arrested by authorities. An EasyJet spokesperson confirmed that once the passenger had left the aircraft, the flight was able to continue its journey to Glasgow. An EasyJet spokesperson said, "Flight EZY3176 from Agadir to Glasgow on December 10th diverted to Faro and was met by police due to a passenger behaving disruptively on board. Once the passenger had left the aircraft, the flight continued to Glasgow. EasyJet's cabin crew are trained to assess and evaluate all situations and to act quickly and appropriately to ensure that the safety of the flight and other customers are not compromised at any time. While such incidents are rare, we take them very seriously and do not tolerate disruptive behavior on board. The safety and well-being of our customers and crew is always EasyJet's highest priority. Lastly, the Prince and Princess of Wales's attendance at King Charles's annual pre-Christmas lunch hangs in the balance as the monarch has moved the traditional gathering to Buckingham Palace, according to new claims. The festive family event, which typically brings together around 70 members of the extended royal family, faces uncertainty over whether William, Kate, and their 3 children will be present. The change of venue from Windsor Castle, where it has been held for the past 2 years, comes as the Wales family may have already departed for their Norfolk residence, Anmer Hall, for the school holidays. The timing of the lunch could prove crucial in determining whether the future king and his family will join the celebrations at the palace this year. The Wales family's potential absence stems from the timing of their traditional retreat to Anmer Hall, their Norfolk residence, for the school holidays. The family's schedule revolves around their children's term dates, with their Norfolk homes serving as a favoured destination for family breaks. Hello! Magazine reports that the Prince and Princess of Wales's attendance at the palace gathering will depend entirely on whether they have already departed London for their countryside residence. The timing presents a particular challenge this year, as the venue shift to Buckingham Palace marks a departure from the previous 2 years' arrangements at Windsor Castle. The family's presence would be significant, as they have historically attended the gathering, having been photographed at previous Christmas lunches, including in 2018. The Royal Christmas Lunch traditionally brings together dozens of extended family members who cannot attend the main Sandringham gathering. Mike Tyndall previously offered a rare insight into the scale of the festivities, revealing, "There must be about 70 of us there. There are 7 tables, and the kiddies have their own little one in a different room." Expected guests include the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh, Princess Royal, Mike and Zara Tyndall, and Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie with their families, the late Queen Elizabeth II's cousins, including Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, the Duke of Kent and the Duke and Duchess of Gloucester, typically join the celebration. The Duke of York has been encouraged to make a discreet arrival and departure from this year's gathering. King Charles has opted to host this year's gathering at Buckingham Palace, marking a significant change from the previous 2 years, when the event was held at Windsor Castle. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comments section below. If you've not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you. Take care. Goodbye.